During the early 1930s, at the height of the Great Depression, the British journalist Malcolm Muggeridge gladly became the Moscow correspondent for the Manchester Guardian newspaper, because just like all the other smart people in Britain, he believed that communist Russia was humanity's future. And just like all the other journalists stationed in Moscow, he believed the propaganda until he simply heard too many rumors of mass famine in such breadbasket regions as the Ukraine. And so, without authorization, he traveled to the Ukraine himself and discovered that it was all true. Millions of peasants were starving to death. The communist revolution was a great lie. It was one of the biggest news scoops of the early 20th century. And yet the Manchester Guardian newspaper refused to publish most of his reports, and after resigning in disgust and moving back to England, he was vilified and called a liar by all the smart people. Little wonder that afterwards he would remark, "I dislike education. I think it's an overrated thing. On the whole, educated people are the most stupid." So how could some of the most highly educated minds in Muggeridge's day fall so easily to the communist propaganda? Well, their great weakness wasn't their intellect, but rather their ego. Many simply saw themselves as too smart to ever be deceived in the first place. And even when confronted with the facts, they refused to believe that they had been duped. What's more is that there is an undeniable tendency in smart people to want to distinguish themselves from the common person. That the smart and sophisticated people of society are on one side and the unsophisticated, unwashed masses are on the other. So when truth is on the side of the common person, it requires a great deal of humility for a smart person to leave his side and join the other. And unfortunately for smart people, Jesus clearly sided with the other. His earthly parents were commoners. He never attended any of the Ivy League schools of his days. And unlike any normal rabbi would, he didn't seek the top graduates of those Ivy League schools to be his disciples, but rather he went to the construction sites, the factories, and yes, the farms. Because Jesus wasn't so much concerned with what was up here, but rather what was down here. And it's not because he was anti-intellectual. He simply knew that a stubborn, arrogant heart yields to no truth. But you can have the highest IQ in the world, but if you don't want to believe something, no amount of fact, evidence, or reasoning will ever be able to sway you. That humility is a prerequisite in knowing the truth about God, the truth about others, and yes, even the truth about yourself. So what about you? Are you willing to humble yourself? If not, then I guess you'll never be able to understand what Jesus was all about. Hey, please show your support to this ministry by sending absolutely no money. Rather, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and check out Segue to Reason's new Facebook page, link in the description below. Thanks for watching.